Here we are in Tranquilla on the road in front of my house. Farther down the road, off in the distance, you can see the mountains, but not very well from here. This is my yard. It used to be, there used to be cattle here before there was a house, so the ground is really compact and it's really hard to grow things. Most of the stuff in the front yard I planted, and this thing right here is an ornamental plant, and this is guandu, which in English is pigeon pea. It's sort of like a bean pea. It's really good. Here is my papaya tree that doesn't have any papaya on it right now. And this flower over here I got at a flower festival and didn't realize that it's actually a tree, and it has these really pretty balls that open every day and then close at nighttime. Over here is a palm tree that I planted, and some more ornamental plants, and this is another guandu tree. This right here is a cranberry hibiscus plant. It doesn't have any flowers right now because of the season, but actually the leaves are really good for salad. They taste like lime, so most of the salad that I eat is a combination of these leaves and cucumbers. So this is my house. Here is some more marigolds that I planted. And this right here is something called Mala Madre, this thing. And then those are lime trees that my landlord planted. And this is my water. That is the side of my yard. And here is my hammock that I spend lots of time in. And over here I have a pot of medicinal plants with some marigolds. And this is basil. And this plant right here is called pico. It helps with worms and bacterial infections in the stomach. So entering into the living room of my house, basically got a lot of bags here. Got this bag and this bag, both of those which are made by hand out of plants. This was probably made in a factory. Someone gave that to me. And this is one of the machetes that I have in my house. It's old. And this is my lawn chair that my landlord gave to me. And here are some other bags that my host grandmother made for me. And this bag, I have maracas that someone in another town made, and I bought from them. And they made this out of a totumo, which is basically this large circular pumpkin thing that grows on trees here. This is also a totumo, and this is a totumo as well that I'm using to put dishes, silverware in. This is my water filter. There's 2 candles in here, and the water drips down, and then I put it in this gallon jug. And then I take this dropper and put drops of bleach into the gallon, and then after about 20 minutes I can drink it. And this table, my landlord and I built together, and she also built this bench that I painted, and also that other table that's blue. And she also built the whole house in 6 months, which is pretty amazing. And this is my bedroom. kind of dark in here right now because my curtain is down. I have pictures of friends and a little Peace Corps poster. Here is a table that my landlord also made, and a rope that's hanging some wires and a little Panamanian mobile thing. There's my mosquito net. Here's my bed, my computer, and that is a sleeping pad for when people come to visit. And here is another shelf that I strung up. It's just a piece of wood that I hung up with a piece of rope. And right here is another sofa bench thing that my landlord made. And this is another little table that I made out of old beer boxes. And for those people that love machetes, here's another machete. Actually not mine, my landlord left here. And this thing is another shelf that is an old fan cover that I just kind of tied up and strung to the wall. There's a painting that I made of someone sticking their tongue out. And on to the dark room. This room doesn't get much light, but it's where I have my clothes hung up on a rope, and my refrigerator. And I also have another piece of tree that's connected to a wire that's hanging from the ceiling so I can hang my clothes. And that's about it for this room. So here we come to the stove where I do my cooking, and there's my gas tank that lasts about 8 months, and every time I turn on the stove I have to light it with a lighter or matches. Now we come to the part of my house that has the dirt floor, which is okay. Here's another bag that is made out of plant fibers, like woven together. Very useful. Here is all of my shoes, and this strange bucket that I bought to wash my clothing in is probably one of the strangest things I have in my house. It's actually a baby and a cat and a snowman and a table. I'm not really sure why they put that picture in the bucket, but it's kind of funny. And here is another shelf that part of my landlord made, part I made. She took these pieces of bamboo and tied them together with string, and then she gave me this part, and I took this movable wire and tied it up to the roof so it's hanging, and then underneath that I cut holes in a handkerchief and tied that to the bottom. So basically this is my kitchen cabinet where I keep my dishes and things. It's not very organized, but it works. And then down here we have some shoes that are called cutaras, that are just leather. They say they're like peasant shoes. I don't know, they're really comfortable. The bottom's made out of some sort of rubber tire-like material that wears out really quickly, as you can see. And there's my hoe, and this is my favorite machete. I bought this one myself. The other ones my landlord just left here. So I gotta use that a lot to kill things in my house. Moving outside. This is the view to the left of my house. There is a coconut tree that has coconuts, but the tree is really tall up there, so it's kind of hard to get them down. But one time one of my neighbors came over and threw a machete and hit the coconut perfectly, and it fell down, and it was amazing. So here is where I get attacked by fire ants and also do the dishes. So you can tell right now, let me zoom in, all these fire ants that are outside my house, they just kind of live underground, and they like to bite. It's really painful. So this right here is a stove that I made and I painted, and it's on top of a little mud table. So if I'm cooking something like beans that takes a really long time, I'll cook on the fire instead of on my stove inside the house. And here is where I do the dishes, because I have another pipe of water in the back. So it just kind of goes down onto the ground, and I've dug out a little channel so that it goes to a hole in the ground that has compost. And there is some coconut shells that I used to start fire with. And here is another table that I built, just to put, it's like a drying rack for the dishes. Here is some more flowers. And right here is something called mucuna and nyame. It's kind of out of control. It's currently growing on top of my roof, and it shouldn't be that way, but it doesn't have anywhere else to go. So nyame is sort of like a potato. It's a root crop that grows here that people eat, and mucuna is something that helps the soil. It's a nitrogen fixer. So here we have some more flowers, and this is another nyame plant that is growing. Here I planted one little tomato and some pineapple plants. Over here is another guandu, and some corn that died because I didn't water it for about a month. Here is a banana plant that isn't growing very well because the soil is so compact. And this is yucca, which is a really popular thing to grow here because it's really easy. It's another root crop that kind of tastes like a potato, just starch mainly. This is the compost pile. And here is another yucca that I planted. And this is my bean plant that is not looking very good right now. Here is another papaya tree that just started growing in this compost pile because I threw some papaya seeds there. Here is some more basil and some lemongrass, which is really good in tea. Here is my latrine and shower. There is a pipe of water. Woo. And there's a bucket, so sometimes the water goes out and I have water kept there. And then here on the other side in the same building is my latrine, which is basically just a hole in the ground. And that's it for the latrine. So that's my backyard. That's my neighbor's house that you can't really see. And that's that.